Hey you guys, welcome back to Lisa and Company. I am so glad you stopped by today because we are making farmhouse book stacks of every possible shape, size, and out of all kinds of great materials. So sit down, get comfy, and let's get started. If you love budget-friendly DIY design and decor, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you always know when we upload a new video. To make this little tiny book stack, we are going to be using one of these Dollar Tree MDF signs. And I'm just going to grab my square and measure off 3 pieces exactly the same size. Then we're just going to grab that miter box that is super handy for doing small cuts like this. And we're going to cut these into 3 even pieces. Once these are all cut, we're going to give them a little sand on the edge just to round them out the way the rest of the edges are. And then I'm going to touch up those sides with a little bit of blue paint. Now, I wanted to keep this pattern on top, and I got really lucky that I had a blue paint just from Dollar Tree that I was able to touch up those ends with, and it was virtually identical. We're going to grab that sanding block again and just distress the edges all the way around just a little bit. I think it's going to look really good when they're all stacked up together. Now a little bit of hot glue in between to attach these together, and believe it or not, this project is almost finished. Make sure you stack that one with the beautiful pattern on top and the other pieces just go underneath that. And then we're going to finish this off with a little bit of ribbon embellishment. Now I had this one in my stash and I'm pretty sure you guys have already guessed that this is for my mom. So we're going to use that blue and white gingham ribbon and just do a really simple wrap and a tiny little bow on top. I think this one is going to look so pretty on my mom's tier tray, and I cannot wait to take it over to her. What do you think, you guys? Are you loving this blue one made out of an MDF Dollar Tree sign? For this farmhouse book stack, we're going to take the largest of the Dollar Tree crates. Now this is the one that is solid on the sides, but still has the little handles on the end. And I chose this one specifically because I didn't want the one with holes. We want it to look like books, right? Now we're just going to take that antiquing wax and we're just going to wipe it all over to create a great base for some white paint, which is coming up next. Now my tip for this one, just like you saw me do there, when you're trying to get into the small spaces, use a tiny brush and then just wipe over it with a baby wipe to even it all out. I'm going to go ahead and give this a coat of my linen white chalked paint, but I'm not going to do a heavy coat. I want to make sure I can see some of that antique wax coming through, just as if the paint had worn off over time. I am already loving the way this one is coming together, and I could almost leave it just like that, but we do want to embellish this one, and I'm actually going to go ahead and make this one of my reversible or two-sided DIYs. I'm going to be using some of these Dollar Tree rub-on transfers on both sides of this. Now on one side, I'm going to use this little green wreath. I just love it. It's so simple, but these are absolutely stunning, and I'm not going to lie, every time I see these transfers at Dollar Tree, I grab a whole bunch of them. They are good for so many projects, and they've got all kinds of bits and pieces on them. You guys, if you see them, definitely grab these. To finish this one off, I'm just going to take one of the V rub-on letter transfers and pop that right in the middle. I love a monogram and a wreath together. I think it finishes it off just beautifully. Now for the flip side of this one, I'm going to be using more of those Dollar Tree rub-on transfers, but this is the one that has all the different words on it. And I just picked out 3 words that were really fun and made sense in my life. So you pick whatever works for you. You could make this a family specific one. I decided to make it more about exploring and travel because that is something I love to do. I'm going to finish this off with probably my favorite ribbon ever. And I have to ask you guys, you've got to go down in the comments and let me know. When I have a favorite like this, I hoard it. I think I have only used this on 2 DIYs total. How ridiculous is that? Now you guys tell me down in the comments, do you ever do that? When you have a favorite craft supply, do you literally just hold on to it instead of using it? There's something wrong with me, I swear. Now, when I put this on, I'm putting a few dabs of glue down and just making sure I have a really good wrap and nice sharp edges. So I'm kind of giving it a tug as I do it, just so that it really sticks well and it's not kind of all loose and funny around the edges, if you know what I mean. I'm going to tie this off with a really simple knot on top, and then we're just going to add a little bit of greenery to finish this off. I'm loving this eucalyptus greenery that I picked up at Dollarama, and I did manage to get my hands on a whole bunch, and I want to make a gorgeous wreath with it. Do you think this stuff is good for fall? I feel like this green eucalyptus, because it's got that gorgeous sage color, could pretty much work year round. What do you guys think? I know you're going to head down to the comments and let me know if you would use this eucalyptus all the time, if you think it's good for fall, or would you save it for just, I don't know, regular DIYs? Anyway, let me know, because I have an idea for a really gorgeous fall wreath that I've wanted to make for a while, and I was seriously thinking of using this up. You gotta know that this one is absolutely one of my favorites because I love anything reversible. And well, come on, you put the black and the white together with a little bit of green and a gorgeous ribbon, and yeah. And the other side, well, this is one of those ones where there's absolutely no way I could pick which side I love better, and I don't have to because it's double-sided. What do you guys think? Do you have a favorite side? For this book stack, we're going to use these free printables that I get from Jen over at Mother Thyme's website, and I'll make sure I link that down below. We're going to use 3 books, and she explains on the website how to pick your book and what's a suitable size for this, so head on over there and take a look if you want to recreate this. Now I'm just going to use my glue stick, and I'm going to center that on and stick it right down. And then all that paper that is left on the top and the bottom, you're just going to wrap that around your book, glue stick it down, and trim it off with a knife. Like I said, you guys, this is super easy. I was having so much fun making all these different book stacks out of different materials that I actually have enough for an entire video. So I do want to know, head down in the comments and let me know if you want to see some more different ways to create book stacks that don't necessarily involve books, or that do and just have some really interesting techniques for making them. So you guys let me know, and if I get enough, yeah, Lisa, make some more of these, then we will do a part 2. Now that was easy, and all you have to do is repeat the same process for the other 2 books. Now we're going to glue these together and get on to the fun part, and that's embellishing them. I'm just going to use some simple Dollar Tree twine to attach this, a little tiny dab of hot glue, and I'm going to wrap this a few times all the way around the book stack, tie that off, well, glue it down anyway, and then we're going to do the same thing in the opposite direction. I have this great greenery that I get from Dollarama on a roll. It's a little thin, but it makes a great little wreath embellishment. All I do is take some of it and wrap it around my hand to get the size I want, and then I just take that end and twist it around and it holds its shape beautifully. Now I have a great little wreath to put on top of my book stack. I'm going to make a tiny little shoelace bow on here, glue it down, and we're going to call this one Done. Just loving how simple this was to put together and thinking how easy it would be if I wanted to change it out. Don't forget to head over to Mother Thymme's website and check out all her free printables. I grabbed these teen fiction books because they were a little bit larger than your average fiction novel, but not as big as a hardcover and not as thick either. I have these beautiful self-adhesive papers from Dollarama, and they are in the most beautiful colors. At first, I wasn't sure if I was going to use one color on each book, and then I decided to go ahead and use that gorgeous green on all three of them. I also have these pretty embellishments from Dollarama. I am going to use the rose one, but we're going to save those little stickers for another project. Now this is perfect because these books are nearly exactly the right size for these sheets of self-adhesive paper. It's kind of neat stuff, and I've never seen it anywhere else. All I'm going to do is wrap that around each book, making sure that the top book is completely covered, the bottom book is covered, but the one in the middle, I'm only going to worry about doing that spine. And then out of these two sheets, because that's all I had in this color, I'll have just enough to cover all three books. Now I have these beautiful rose decals, and I've seen some beautiful DIYs done with these, and I couldn't wait to try them on this. Now I'm standing the books up to put it on simply so that I can make sure I get it on just right. I am going to take my X-Acto knife and just split those between each book, and then I'm going to take those pieces and just sort of wrap them around so they look like they are attached to each book. Don't forget to trim off all your little extra bits and pieces with your knife, and these are going to look so pretty all together. I'm going to use that little emery board from Dollar Tree just to finish off the edges, and it gets rid of any bad cuts I might have done. Now put those back together in the right order, and yeah, obviously this is going to be key, a little bit like doing a puzzle, and then we're going to add one more of those rose decals right on top. Now, once you find the placement that makes you happy and is most pleasing, just do the same thing, stick it down, flip it over, and trim off all those little extra bits and pieces. Now glue these together just like all the other book stacks, of course, making sure you're doing it in the right order. And then we're going to get some really pretty ribbon, or a combination of ribbons actually, to finish this off. I've had these beautiful ribbons in my stash for a while, and don't they go perfectly together, and don't they go perfectly for this Farmhouse book stack? This is a little different for me, but I gotta tell you guys why. You know I love my nice neutral black and white, and obviously I do the blue ones for my mom, but she has been loving all things pink lately, and well, I figured I would make her a pretty book stack that we could pop on her end table and give her something pretty to look at. Just wondering if Mom is going to keep this one in the living room near where she spends her days reading and stuff like that, or if maybe she'll put this one somewhere else in her place. Mom, you're going to have to let us know down in the comments where you're going to put this one. I was lucky to find these much larger Jenga blocks at Dollarama, and I'm going to use 6 of these to create a really cute little book stack. So I'm going to put them together in 2x2s, and then I'm going to stack those all on top of each other. And this one is going to be perfect for a tiered tray, or maybe you've got a little shelfy display that you just need a little something to add onto. Now I'm going to go ahead and stack these up with a little bit of hot glue in between, and then because I want it to look like books and not Jenga blocks, we're going to take some spackle and fill in all those spaces on the end to give us a nice solid finished look. Now I will say, probably not the best use of your Cricut spatula, but it did the trick and I had it nearby. Now I've already gone ahead and painted these a really pretty pale pink, and I'm going to take this tiny rainbow off the larger wall decal from Dollar Tree and place it on there. Now I was going to place it straight on just like this, and then I thought, you know, when you see a rainbow in a picture, it's often at a little bit of an angle, and this decal had a couple of really pretty little hearts, and I thought that would be a nice way to finish off the end of the rainbow. Now we're going to trim these off again, just so we've got a nice finished edge, and then we're going to take a little bit of ribbon and finish this off. Now I have the Dollar Tree gingham ribbons in pretty much every color, but I thought it would be fun to use the orange and the pink together on this. It's such a sunshiny, happy combination, and that's exactly what I was going for on this teeny tiny Farmhouse tiered tree book stack. This teeny tiny stack came out so cute, and I just love how well these two go together. I hope you guys like them too. Now at this point you might be wondering what I'm doing with coasters, because this is no book stack. Well, this is something I have been on the hunt for quite a while, and I'll tell you why. Check this out. These little 70s coasters that I'm pretty sure everybody had when they were kids looks exactly like a stack of books to me. So I've got enough to make a couple of different book stacks with this, and I'm pretty sure we can think of something fun to do with the case that they came in, but not today. I'm going to give the edges on these a quick sand before I glue them all together. They're pretty rough, they're pretty old, and I just wanted to smooth them out a bit and make sure that they looked like books. Now you're going to stack these together so all of that cork part is hidden and you can see exactly what I mean. These look just like books. So we're going to glue them together, and then I'm going to paint them in my linen white chalked paint and do a really fun transfer technique next. I printed this off on a laser jet printer, and you have to make sure you do it in reverse. And we're going to use some Mod Podge to put this down. Make it a nice even coat so you don't have any wrinkles or bubbles in your paper. And then when you put it on, make sure you spread it out and there are no wrinkles. I just prefer this. It gives it a much cleaner look this way. Here's a tip though. Make sure you don't get any of that Mod Podge on the outside of your paper, because when you see what we have to do next, you want to make sure that you haven't got any there. I let mine sit overnight to make sure it was completely dry. Now I'm just going to dampen the paper with a wet cloth. Once you can see the words starting to come through your paper, you're ready to start rubbing it off. Now you're just going to rub with your fingers until all of that white paper is gone, and it's going to leave your transfer behind. It's actually a really fun way to do it, and it is so satisfying, and let's face it, it's essentially free. We're going to wrap this up with some black and white baker's twine, and then I'm going to put a little bit of greenery on top, and we're going to have another one of our tiny book stacks, perfect for a tiered tray. I'm loving this feathery, really pale green, almost cedar-like greenery that I picked up at Dollarama, and it is perfect for a smaller piece like this when you don't want anything large like the eucalyptus or the boxwood. I think it finishes it off just perfectly. Well, I think my search for these coasters, this long search for these coasters, was a success, and I am so excited to have this teeny tiny black and white book stack for my tiered tray. I've got a whole bunch of tier trays I want to make. That's a wrap for me today, you guys. I really hope you loved all these different ways to make farmhouse book stacks, and I hope you'll try some of them out yourself. Don't forget to hop on over to Instagram and join me there. And you guys, until next time, we'll see you in the next video.